I'm an icon. I'll be iconing on your channel.
Our Aussie icon, Paul Hogan, is up for a chinwag in the city he once called home.
Oh, I see the old coat hanger in the background. Oh,
sorry.
Look out.
But it doesn't begin as planned. I've got a wardrobe malfunction.
Thanks, Hogan. You're a champion.
Not as if, unfortunately, nobody's interested.
There you go.
How sad is that?
Okay,
Yeah, I
good to
know.
go.
There's something wrong with him, it's not you.
Yeah, of course. 30, 40 years ago, it was all different.
No, I'd be having a perf.
Riding along on my push bike, honey, when I noticed you. Riding downtown.
Having a perv was what blokes did back in the 70s. On Australia's top-rating television program, The Paul Hogan Show.
So pretty, she was singing this song.
The raunchy humour is from an era that's long gone.
That was very sexist. But the objective was sort of what sort of disasters befell the guys who were distracted by it. That was sort of...
Very politically incorrect.
Even one got killed by perving too long.
Could that humour ever work again?
There's no viciousness in it at all. There's no malice in it. Comedy devoid of malice.
It's not the way that you do it.
It was explaining why the guy walked under a bus, you know. And the joke is what happens to him. So it's sexist, yeah. It's making us men look stupid. But no, a lot of it you couldn't do now.
Well, behind us is, you know, your first workplace.
My home.
Your home. Must have some incredible memories. You got a bravery award for some pretty brave stuff you did on the bridge. Tell me about that.
It shouldn't have been a bravery award. It should have been called for being fearless and stupid. No, I just stopped a guy from leaping off there. As a young man, life can't be that tough. And just sort of talked him out of it and hung on to him.
Oh! Welcome, mate! Right on you!
Paul's unlikely story of fame, from rigger on the Harbour Bridge to international superstar, has just been told in the miniseries Hogs.
What's going on?
Your dad has just been nominated for an Oscar award.
What?
And they want him to host.
Get out! No! Oh my God!
I've had a ridiculously lucky life, extraordinarily. Lucky and luck and timing. And I was lucky I lived in the real world and had all sorts of odd jobs and grubby jobs.
Because you weren't famous. Your star wasn't born till you were about 30 or 32,
Yeah,
was it?
that's right. I'm a late starter. I made my first movie at 47 and did all right. But having a proper working blue-collar background before you get into this fame and fortune thing, I think that's an advantage.
Good evening, one more time, ladies and gentlemen.
Luigi the Unbelievable. Hogs was brilliant at conjuring up unique characters. Skateboarding thug Nigel Lovelace. Leo Wanker. Arthur Dunham.
With a little bit of the old running on the spot. Here we go. 1, 2.
And he did a pretty convincing Rod Stewart. Rod even gave Hogs feedback on the impersonation.
And I got notes saying I nailed the moves perfectly.
Name? Mr. Strop.
Age and marital status.
28V.
What do you mean 28V?
28-year-old virgin, mate.
In the TV shows, Paul's mate and manager, John Cornell, played Strop, a shy surf lifesaver who just couldn't get a girl.
It was a hell of a party, mate, wasn't it? Did I have a good time?
Yeah, I was discovered by a few different people, but John was the one who knew what to do with me. Otherwise, I'd have been back on the bridge, I'd say. Yeah.
Simple as that?
Yeah, simple as that, yeah. He saw potential in me that I didn't see, or anyone else.
While Strop was always looking for love.
Do I wet my lips first, Doctor?
John Cornell found his soulmate on the show.
Oh, incidentally, there was a little drizzle reported earlier up here, just below the bite.
Delvine Delaney was one of the most beautiful girls on television. They married and settled in Byron Bay. 10 years ago, John was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
You know, I'd take a bullet for him. He'd take one for me. But he's a tough little rooster. He's sort of like, as I said, he'll probably outlive us all. You know, you go, OK, I've got Parkinson's, so what? It's sort of, he just goes through it. He's got that nature.
Notoriously private, John and Delvine stepped back into the spotlight late last year to celebrate Paul receiving the prestigious Australian Actors Lifetime Achievement Award.
Hello, I'm Delvine Delaney.
She kept saying, no one will know who I am. I haven't been on television for 30 years or something. And she was shocked when everyone sort of gave her a great welcoming ovation. You could see it. She was sort of went, she was looking around to see if someone else was behind her.
Fair goes and funny bones and a fine human being. Good on you, Hogs.
You were sitting side by side with John Cornell and Strop. How good was that?
Oh, my blood brother, my best friend, been with me through everything. And he hasn't been out in public for a long, long time. And I sort of kept thinking, don't put the camera on him. But he was having a good time.
Every Australian needs to stand up and cheer this fella because he's not just a comic, he is an Australian giant.
Well, I'm nowhere near as tall as people think I am on the screen. It was all flattering, but it was a bit embarrassing.
Also presenting at the awards was John Brown, Australia's tourism minister in 1983.
Sydney had not one decent hotel. The tourism industry basically didn't exist.
You look like you need a holiday, a fair dinkum holiday.
He offered Hogs the role of promoting our country to America.
And you're going to have to learn to say good day. Because every day's a good day in Australia.
G'day, Paul.
G'day, love.
Did you have any hesitation in accepting it?
No, but the powers that be had hesitation. They were saying, they won't understand that accent. You know, couldn't we get Don Lane to do it?
Because we talk the same language. Although you lot do have a funny accent.
The final tick-off was Bob Hawkes. And he said to all of them, what's wrong with his bloody accent? Which, you know how Hawkey talks. And that was it.
Nobody since Captain Cook has done as much for tourism.
We went to desired destination #1 from 28 in a few months.
Come and say good day. I'll slip an extra shrimp on the barbie for you.
So many Australians say to me, you should have said prawn on the barbie. But I just know that there's two expressions that went into the language and are still there. And that's slip a shrimp on the barbie, and that's not a knife.
And your wallet.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Do you remember when you came up with that line? What instigated it?
To me, it was an idea of sort of saying, instead of stabbing somebody, you know, just sort of repel an attack with humour and the suggestion that, you know, don't mess around with me, I'll carve you up, son.
Just kids having fun.
I'd go into a restaurant in Japan or Mexico, and inevitably the chef will come out with his big knife and sort of say, that's not a knife, this is a knife. It's sort of, and then look pleased with themselves like they thought it up first. Thousands and thousands of times.
But that's nice. It
is nice, yeah. I must get sick of it. No, you don't get sick of it.
Action.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Australian comic actor Josh Lawson played Hogs in the TV miniseries.
I mean, that's not a knife. It's got to be one of the most, quoted lines of any movie in history.
How old were you, Josh, when you first saw Paul Hogan?
Well, to give you an idea, Kerri-Anne, I remember seeing Crocodile Dundee at the drive-in. Yeah. You remember drive-ins? And some of your viewers are not even going to know what I'm talking about.
I know.
I was 8 years old. It would have been 7 or 8, yeah.
Paul has never met Josh, so I thought it was time to introduce them.
Lovely to meet you.
Now, I want you to
Oh,
meet...
God, it's like looking in a mirror.
I mean, we were doing the exact same thing, Paul. Nice to meet you, mate. How are you?
Why don't you sit yourself
I
over
would
there,
love to.
Josh?
Come in. Yeah, this is like a weird first date. I mean,
I know. It's like looking in a mirror.
it really is. Only our mother could tell us apart. Yeah.
So how did it feel, the challenge of, you know, working with an icon, as, metaphorically speaking?
Well, I mean, obviously I had to go to the gym for about 12 months to get into shape. But I don't know if you knew this, but he single-handedly built the Sydney Harbour Bridge. No help. Yeah.
Oh, no, there were 2 or 3 other guys.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. No, look, it was obviously pretty intimidating, really, to step into the shoes of a legend, an Aussie legend. Sorry to embarrass you like that, Paul.
But what was important to me was that they cast a good-looking lad.
Yeah, well, sorry about that.
He's also taller than me, but that's all right.
Well, I'm so glad I could put you 2 boys together, and, you know, fantastic.
No, thank you. It's a dream come true to finally meet you, Paul.
Oh, so
it really
it's
is.
like looking in a mirror. I wish.
Paul, you married so young. What were you, 19, 20?
Yeah. I had 3 sons at 22. And it wasn't rare to get married that young back in my day, in the olden days. It was fairly common with me and my tribe and friends and stuff.
And you had 5 kids, 5,
Yeah.
pretty quickly. Being a young father.
Oh, I loved it.
You loved being a father.
Oh, yeah, always did. It just took to it, like little kids. There's a strange innocence about them. It's sort of, and having my own tribe, yeah, it was great. Never regretted that for a second.
2 beers, all right? 1 for me, 1 for me, mate.
In 1986, Paul Hogan introduced his Aussie outback hero, Crocodile Dundee, to the world.
G'day. Dick Dundee from Australia. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Just going to town for a couple of days. Probably see you around. Bye.
Suddenly, Paul was hanging out with British and Hollywood royalty, the first Australian to host the Oscars.
Winners, when you make your speech, it's a good tip to remember the 3 Gs. Be gracious, be grateful, get off.
But I always have that feeling that someone's going to come and tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, you're only a rigger. What are you doing here with these people?
No, I'm nominated tonight, but I travelled 13,000 miles to be here for this. You come from the other side of the planet. And if they read out someone else's name instead of mine, it's not going to be pretty.
While making Crocodile Dundee, Paul had fallen for his co-star, American actress Linda Kozlowski.
All right, it's over.
Their relationship became a national scandal. Do you think that was unfair to be judged?
No, the only way you clarify something, try and make it fair, is just spill your guts or tell all your business. Olin divorced me in 1980 or something, and we remarried. And then I went off with Linda. It was only annoyed me that there was leaving my 5 children behind, like there was 5 little kids standing weeping at it. I mean, the children were grown up and moved on. They weren't even in the country, a couple of them. And there wasn't 5 kids going, oh, don't leave us, Dad. There was only 1 kid left at home when I left. And he was 14 and he handled it all right.
Nolling said you didn't speak to her for 17 years. Is that true?
Oh, I don't know if they put time on it, but she never wanted to speak to me for quite a long time, and I don't blame her.
The final scene of Michael J. Crocodile Dundee. Thanks, Hakes.
Thank you, son.
After making Crocodile Dundee 2, Linda and Paul married and moved to Los Angeles to start a new life with their son, Chance. In 2014, after 25 years together, they too divorced.
I'm the villain, you know. I did it. I left one wife for another one, and now I've left her, and it's sort of like, so what? It's not hurting you.
Do you look back and go, oh, perhaps my timing wasn't right, or maybe I should have done something differently?
No, it is what it is. Yeah. Nothing I'd change, I don't think. I don't want to hurt anybody or cause them any grief. I want them to feel like, oh, thank God he's out of my life. Because, you know, you move on. That's sort of I move on. And I've had no bitter battles with either ladies. Didn't have any with Linda. It was simply a case of opposites attract, and we attracted, and we were terrific and loved each other and for a while, and then one day you wake up and you're just opposites. And we slowly drifted apart over the years.
At 77, Paul is now a single dad, bringing up his 18-year-old son, Chance, in Los Angeles. So what was the difference in your parenting skills as an older father with Chance?
Because it's been such a long gap, I enjoyed it again. I enjoyed it the second time round too. Just you have them, you love them, and you do the best you can.
Who does the cooking?
He can cook a little bit. Neither of us can cook. No, not really. We have takeaway a lot. Neither of us are food connoisseurs.
What's the worst thing about a teenage boy? Is it
they
the
know
music?
everything, and you're stupid. Yeah, of course. And the amazing thing, as they get older, you get wiser.
Paul's mum lived to be 101. His dad died at 52. Paul has already had a few close calls, the most serious, a brain hemorrhage. Did you think you were going to die?
At one stage I did, and I didn't care, because it was, cerebral hemorrhage is not fun. But then it healed itself, so it didn't open my head or anything. It was just sort of a message.
What was the message?
Enjoy your life every day. You lucky bastard. Come and get me. Come and get me, you miserable bastards.
Paul's luck almost ran out 10 years ago when the Australian Tax Department came after him.
The only thing really bugged me about that was, one, I was never charged anyway. I wasn't found innocent because I was never charged. I was just investigated endlessly. There were still people saying, yeah, well, why don't you pay your tax like everyone else? And, excuse me, I paid my tax and yours and 2,000 other people's. It was all unnecessary. And there was a motive behind it. It was political.
Applauded by his peers and in the company of his dearest friends, life is good for Hogs.
I'll quit while I'm ahead.
But there is something missing. Well, at this age, for the first time since you were 18, 19, you're single.
Yeah. Oh, I was single. Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Are you looking for love again?
No. But, you know, I'm not rejecting it either. No, it's not. You can look a lot, you know. That actor thing. There were some stunning-looking women there. Whoa.
At the award ceremony?
Yeah. And I could have a look at them and thought, you know, I'm just a dirty old man now. How are you, darling? Yeah.
Well, Paul, thank you very much for your time. And now we know you're looking for love.
Looking for lust in all the wrong places. There's a song in it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. You'll get a good 5 or 6 minutes out of that.
Yeah.